Today, we're going to cover 3 mistakes that I see every single new player making in Counter-Strike 2. If you can fix these bad habits and start understanding the game, you are going to become a much better player. So before we get into that, I do have a message I have to give you guys.
Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Skins Monkey. They are one of the greatest and easiest to use CS2 trading sites out there. You can swap out the skins you do not like for brand new ones that are so much more fresh. Even skins that are trade locked can be secured by adding them to your backpack. The greatest thing about the site is that you can buy skins for so much cheaper with a 35% deposit bonus when you use my code CoJo. Make sure to check out the freebie section where you can get a free skin just by completing tasks. On top of the bonuses, you also get a $5 bonus when clicking the link in the description.
Alright, so let's talk about these 3 mistakes that I see every new player making inside of this game. This isn't going to be revolutionary, but if you can get good at these 3 things and stop doing a lot of these bad habits and mistakes, you are going to become a much better player inside of this game. It is so important to your success. The first bad mistake that I see new players making inside of this game, by far, without a doubt, is having their crosshair in the most, worst place possible, right? Not understanding crosshair placement. A lot of you guys don't understand the maps, don't understand where you should be aiming, and that's totally okay. You're not going to be a master in one day at this, but you're running out a ramp and you're taking fights and your crosshair is looking down like this. Wherever you're fighting, you're either looking down here or like looking in the air. You're not aiming where you should be. If you watch a professional match, their crosshair is always where someone can peek them. So if we're in Palace here, their crosshair is always where someone could swing them, right? Where someone could run out like this at them, right? So they're putting their crosshair here. And what they're doing then is imagining the map through the walls, right? So they're putting their crosshair in these common spots where people are gonna be, right? So when I peek jungle, if someone actually is there, I can start to shoot them. When someone stares, I can actually shoot them, right? Boom. It's that simple, guys. Stop peeking out angles looking like this, because then you're just gonna have to flick up, right? And you look really bad when you're doing this. And I know it looks really silly when I'm showing you this, but trust me, a lot of you guys are doing this. I'd say that is the greatest issue that new players have in this game, is they are running around looking like noobs, right? If you're also a new player, this is a little bonus tip I put in. I would get used to using the SMGs because the spray pattern is easier to understand and there's less punishment of running and gunning, right? A lot of you guys don't have good, you're not good at rifles, because rifles can be really inaccurate when you're running around doing all these things. So yeah, I don't know how we got there, but crosshair placement is so important, guys. It's something you always need to improve on. I would recommend watching my pre-fire videos in order to get better crosshair placement and understanding where to put your crosshair around the map. It's very good and it'll instantly make you a so much better player, because think about it. If you're aiming down here and someone swings you, you have to now move your crosshair up to here before you can shoot, versus if you just have it there, it's as simple as, oh, he said, right? So it just makes more sense. Now, the second big mistake I see new players making inside this game is making way too much noise, guys. I put my webcam on the right side of the screen up here because I wanted to make sure that you can see the radar. Do you see that ring that is moving around when I'm doing stuff like on the radar? That is showing you where people can hear you depending on what noise you're making, right? So it shows you when the bomb's dropped, how far the bomb makes noise, when you're running around making jumping sounds. Everything in this game can be heard. The only time you can't be heard in this game is when you're walking or crouching, right? Even when you silently jump up somewhere, it's not actually silent. As you can see, they can actually get the audio cue and hear it. When you're running around, they hear you. When you're reloading, they hear you. When you're shooting, they hear you, right? When you're knifing the wall or knifing your teammate, they hear you. No matter what you're doing in this game, they hear you. And if you're giving away those audio cues, you're making your life so much more difficult, because you're just telling them, hey guys, I'm right here. The best players in the world know how to do these little steps, right? Do these little peaks where you're walking out, you're jiggling, doing these little things without making a single step, without making any noise, right? And it's just so valuable to understand where you can make noise and where you cannot make noise. A lot of it's going to come with your game sense, but in general, guys, making the least amount of noise as possible is so good. I did make a video on how making noise can be beneficial to you to fake out your opponent. Again, that's a great video to watch after this one. It teaches you how to fake out your opponents with noise. But when you're just learning the basics, just understand that if you are trying to achieve something and you don't want the other person to hear you, stop running around, stop reloading, stop doing anything, even scoping. If you're scoping, they can hear the scope, right? If they're next to you in an area close to you, they can hear your scope and they know you're scoped in. All these things are going to give them the clues that are going to help them win the round and have the competitive edge against you. And we don't want to give the opponent the competitive edge. Now, the third thing and the final thing that I see new players making the biggest mistakes on is the economy. I see new players buying when they shouldn't, saving when they should, and just not buying the right stuff. In general, guys, in general, if you are buying any gun in this game, you should be having armor, right? You should have armor if you're buying a gun in this game. The exception to that is when you are buying just like a P250 trying to save, or a pistol trying to save. Whenever you have one of these guns in mid-tier or rifles, you should have armor. And you should always want to have armor, right? If you ever have like a Tech 9 or something, it's great to have armor. But that leads us to the next problem. New players are overbuying way too much, right? So I see a lot of you guys, when you don't have the funds to buy, you're buying way too much. In general, in Counter-Strike, you want to stick around $2,000 or above. Now with loss bonus and, you know, depending on what round it's going to be, it's going to change, right? Sometimes you can buy down a little less because your team has lost so many rounds in a row that you're getting $3,400. Okay, well then maybe you can drop down to like $1,500 and get a decent buy-in. But you shouldn't be buying to zero every single round. That's not the purpose of Counter-Strike, and that's not how you're going to set yourself up to win the most, right? Keeping yourself around that $2,000 balance when your team is saving is going to allow you to have more AKs, more rifles, more armor, more nades, just everything, right? And it's going to give you a chance to win the game. Too many of you guys are trying to win the whole entire game in one round and just forcing deagle armor every round, or you're just buying an AK without armor, right? And you're just not understanding the purpose of the economy and how to actually effectively use it. I get it, we want to buy every single round, but sometimes you got to take a save in order to win the game, right? Sometimes you got to be on a Glock no armor to just get your money for the next round. So stop trying to win the game in one round and you'll be so much better. But these are 3 tips that I think that new players struggle with. It's bad habits I see all the time, and I think if you can hone in on these skills and become a better player, you'll improve so much faster. So like I said, there's lots of good videos on my channel. I teach lots of in-depth stuff, intermediate stuff, beginner stuff, doesn't matter. There's something out there for everybody. I really would subscribe to my channel if you want to get better at this game. You'll learn so much from these videos, and it's something I wish I had when I was newer to the game and at a lower level. So make sure you guys leave a comment down below. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. Did you get something out of it? Maybe you guys are too good for this, and you know, it's nothing new, but I appreciate the support anyways. Make sure to check me out live every single weekday on twitch.tv/CoJoMoCS. I'm streaming so often, and I'm grinding to be the #1 faceit player in North America. So come watch me there. We'll have a good time, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.